it doesn't ever really go away.
Wait, there's a lot of people already going up his...
Well, all right, Robyn, what do you want to do?
I don't know, should we go sit in the car?
Everybody else is just piling under the deck.
You know, sometimes a death can really change a person.
How the mighty have transformed. She used to cry at the drop of a hat, usually the one in her hand, of course. Now, not a single tear in sight. This woman cried in every single episode, except the last few. So much for being the sensitive one, huh? Let's be real, she's not exactly a saint. Her kids are odd. She lies without blinking, and when Garrison died, the most we got was one fake, forced tear while the other women were shattered. It was painful to watch, not because of her grief, but because of the complete lack of it. Honestly, I can't even stand to see her on screen anymore after these past 2 episodes. And her daughters? Yeah, not much better. I'm not talking about the little ones, but the older girls, just bad vibes all around. Here's my theory. She's setting the stage to either leave Kody or paint herself as a martyr. Because apparently, death has changed him. Sure, January, the man is in the middle of his so-called pilgrimage, making content about his grief, conveniently forgetting to even mention Garrison. But don't worry, he made sure to mention those signs he sold 30 years ago. Truly inspiring. Now let's talk about David. The man has faced real loss, his wife and several others, all under tragic circumstances. And yet, he stayed grounded. He raised his children, ran a successful business, married Christine, embraced her kids, and became a present father to Truly. That's what strength and compassion actually look like. Meanwhile, our girl, nope, she hasn't changed. Why would she? She's got Kody, her cut of something she didn't earn, a massive house, a weirdly large doll collection, and kids who are provided for, without her lifting a finger. Her entitled attitude carried her this far, so why start evolving now? And here's the kicker, we still talk about her. We're the reason she and the human mock she's married to remain relevant. I noticed something else too. Those fake sobs of hers? Gone. Probably because she finally got what she always wanted. Kody, all to herself, plus her kids, and every material thing she ever desired. She's not even pretending anymore. Here's the truth, sweetie. You changed the family. You and Dropkick Kody dragged everyone to Flagstaff. You made it clear that only your kids mattered. You both added to the stress that broke Garrison, stress that ended with a gunshot. And yeah, death changes people, especially when it's a young life lost. You think people just move on? No, they crawl through it. They rebuild from the ashes. Speaking from personal experience, my brother took his own life, and it shattered me. I had my own version of Kody and you in my life, and let me tell you, it made everything worse. So what are we seeing now? Fear. Fear that even Kody is finally seeing through her. She pushed too far even for him. And now she's panicking. Bottom line, she's angry that the original 13 kids and OG wives saw her for who she truly is. She's furious because she can no longer control or manipulate them. And that's what really burns her. Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to ThreadoraTalks, where the conversations are always next level. I'm your host, Jenna, and today, we're turning things up a notch. Trust me, this is one video you do not want to miss, so let's dive right in. Robyn's reaction to Garrison's death was never going to satisfy anyone. Honestly, she could have broken down in tears, and people would have still found something to criticize, like why is she crying? She hated him. It's a classic case of can't win for losing. No matter what she does, it'll be the wrong move in someone's eyes. I'm not a fan of Robyn, but I couldn't help but notice that, this time, she tried to keep the spotlight off herself for once and focus on Kody. She didn't make it all about her, which for her is a bit of a win. Maybe she was trying to show some respect for a family member she clearly didn't care much about. Let's be real, Robyn probably has an out-of-sight, out-of-mind attitude toward Kody's ex-wives and their kids. I can't imagine the pressure she felt, being in front of the cameras, knowing she had a strained relationship with Garrison, and might even be partially blamed for his death. Estranged relationships add a whole other level of emotional complexity. When you haven't been on good terms, grief doesn't come in the clean, simple form that it does for those who were close to the person. Instead, you're left with guilt, anger, regret, and the weight of knowing nothing can be fixed. Robyn knows she's partly to blame for how things went down between Kody and Garrison. She knows Kody picked her and her kids over his own son, and she knows that decision played a big role in Garrison's struggles. She can't escape the fact that her insistence on putting her children first likely contributed to his pain. If I were her, I would have stayed out of the spotlight entirely. To be fair, even though I think she's pretty awful, I did notice in the last couple of episodes that she made a point of not turning it all back to her. She probably realized if she showed any emotion, even remotely, people would just rip her apart for it. So yeah, she's not winning any popularity contests, but maybe, just maybe, she deserves a tiny bit of credit for trying to let the family mourn without making it about her for once. Kody gave me secondhand embarrassment. The signs. I was so cringed out, I seriously considered praying for the earth to just swallow me up and end the pain. Here he is, at his son's funeral, and instead of, mourning, or, I don't know, showing any real emotion, he's waxing poetic about a sign he sold, not even designed or made, just sold. And I'm over here thinking, I used to sell perfume at a department store, but you don't hear me going on about how important Ralph Lauren romance is. Props to the camera crew and editors, though. They deserve an award for perfectly capturing the complete, utter lack of fucks given by everyone else while Kody rambles on. Honestly, it's like he's speaking a language no one else can even understand. He lights up when he talks about himself, and it's straight up nauseating. His son just died by suicide, and he's going on about some job he had 25 years ago. Who does that? Also, did we know David's wife died by suicide too? Because damn, if there's anyone who's handling grief with any kind of grace, it's him. Christine might have caught some flack for moving on with him so fast, but damn if he doesn't seem like the real deal. He actually talks about the importance of getting the kids some counseling and letting them express tough emotions. Christine, you picked right. And when Ari said finally, I was like, yep, I'm with you on that one. Kody's total lack of self-awareness never fails to amaze me. He could talk in circles about things he knows absolutely nothing about, and every second just makes me cringe. He has no clue how those signs came to be. He didn't even make them. He just sold them. And now he's in the gun business, selling who knows what else. Seriously, who buys anything from this guy? In all my many decades of life, I've never once seen a family, deep in the throes of grief, turn a trip to bury a loved one into a week-long vacation for themselves. Never. So here are the two possibilities I'm offering. A, they're not grieving. B, they're not grieving. That's it. Plain and simple. Sure, I get that everyone grieves in their own way, but let's be real. When you've just lost a sibling, son, or stepson, your grief shows. It shows in your words, your actions, and your face. Even if you're pretending to enjoy some ridiculous activity, you can still see the grief in your eyes, or maybe just in that tightness around your mouth that says, this is not fun, not even close. Most families, when they're mourning, share stories about the loved one they've lost. You know, things like how much that person meant to them, memories they'll cherish forever. But apparently, not this family. Robyn used to complain that her kids didn't know their siblings well enough. Here was the perfect opportunity to tell Saul and Ari stories about Garrison, like how he used to play with them almost every day when they were little, or how he wanted the whole family to get together during COVID. But no, instead, they focused on having fun activities, making business signs, and introducing the ashes of Kody's once proud family to his old business clients. And let's not forget, it had already been 4 months. 4 months. But hey, life goes on, right? Now, let's be clear. Policing someone's grief is a disgusting, judgmental thing to do. When I lost my daughter, I didn't drag her siblings through a never-ending parade of misery. As a parent of young children, you can't just wallow in sorrow forever. Sure, you grieve, but you can still find moments of joy with the children you have left. 4 months later, it's okay for Saul and Ari to experience something other than grief, especially when there's no sign of it from the adults around them. Where do I even start? What Robyn has done to Aurora and Brianna is nothing short of abuse. It genuinely breaks my heart. She stifled their growth, projected her own victim complex onto them, and now they're stuck in this perpetual state of anxiety. It's like she's made them live in a bubble, away from the rest of the family. It's gross, truly gross, and dare I say, abusive. That's my rant after enduring their permanent scowls yet again. And then there's the one who looks more like Robyn. She's got this bizarre, unsettling dynamic with Kody. I swear, the way she talks about him being a ladies' man, combined with the weird facial expressions and tongue gestures, literally made me want to puke. It's not the first time either. Very strange. Robyn has somehow managed to raise girls who will need a man to hold their hands through life. They'll never walk tall, always with their eyes on the floor. It's heartbreaking. And what makes it worse is how Kody is practically worshiping them, like they're his crown jewels. It's gross and honestly pathetic. Oh, and don't even get me started on Robyn's freakout at the Western show when it started raining. Everyone else was chill, just huddling under the porch, and she's panicking like it's the apocalypse. "Shouldn't we get in the car?" she said, practically vibrating with anxiety. Meanwhile, it's obvious why Kody ditched his other wives and kids for the family Robyn. He's the ultimate grandstander, always performing. He talks for hours with those long, boring stories, and the girls are just hanging on every word. At least, they don't roll their eyes. Well, except for Ari. Lol. Speaking of Ari though, who does she look like? Janelle's boys look like the Browns. Christine's girls clearly take after her, but Saul, and especially Ari. I'm leaning towards Robyn's side. Maybe. It's hard to tell. Boy, Robyn. Last week, I was actually on here defending her. Shocking, I know. But I've come crawling back with my tail between my legs to admit. I was so wrong. She's still the same despicable person she's always been. I can't even believe they were the ones to take Garrison to Wyoming. And not only that, they turned it into some wholesome family fun day, while Garrison stayed in the car. Wasn't even acknowledged. Not a word. Like, seriously, what the hell? Not a single ounce of respect for that sweet boy. Even if she wasn't exactly close to him, at the bare minimum, she could have acknowledged that he loved her kids and her husband. But nope, instead of handling those inconvenient, uncomfortable feelings, let's just pretend he never existed and show Kody that our kids are obviously much better than he ever was. So classy. But what really pushed me over the edge was when she said her kids needed to have roots in Wyoming. Excuse me, what? Heaven forbid any of the original wives and their kids have something that she's not a part of. I honestly think she was just jealous of the whole bringing Garrison home moment and how special Wyoming is to Kody and the family. So what does Robyn do? She barges in and forces her weird little kids into a place where they clearly don't belong, just like she's done with everything. It's honestly so telling that production is finally making her behavior this obvious. There's nothing that the original wives or their kids have that she won't try to take, ruin, or make her own. She's the walking definition of a parasite. And don't even get me started on the ashes. I'm seriously skeptical that anyone even trusted Kody with them. It feels like a TV moment they cooked up because, let's face it, no one else in the family seems to want anything to do with them. Realistically, those ashes were probably handed to Janelle. She would have had to give them to someone else for it to reach Kody, or maybe she gave them to him directly, but neither scenario really adds up. It all feels like a scripted drama moment to me. Miri's redemption arc? Honestly, she was never my favorite wife. But since she parted ways with Kody, I have to admit, I've come around on her. Sure, she displayed some pretty cringeworthy pick-me behavior back when she was still in the polygamous setup. But since leaving, she's shown she's actually a girl's girl. I mean, it genuinely hit me when she stepped up for Janelle while she was grieving. I don't know how long this newfound admiration will last, but I believe Mary does, at the very least, have a big heart for her sister wives and the kids. Mary is nothing if not loyal, and I actually have to respect that. No one can say she's failed to honor her commitments. Sure, all the wives had their moments of being pick-me girls, but that's kind of what polygamy demands of them. It's not exactly a girl's girl environment. Mary's put in the work, and even if she hadn't, I'd still admire her for just dropping everything and rushing to Janelle in her time of need. That's what you do in a crisis. Show up however you can, no questions asked. Nothing else matters at that point. I'm so glad you said that because I felt the exact same way. Honestly, this is the first time we're really seeing the real Mary, the strong, independent, funny one. I know Janelle's mentioned that Mary was pretty awful to her when she first married Kody, and I'm not dismissing that. But let's be real, Mary was a victim of the whole messed up religious setup. She was pressured into sharing a man she loved, even though it was obvious he wasn't in love with her. I think she just got lost in the system, the sign segment, because what this show really needed was a heartfelt, dramatic deep dive into the joys of selling signs. So out of place, it honestly felt like a commercial break that accidentally ran too long. Kody's trip down memory lane, waxing poetic about his sign-selling days, was so cringeworthy. Meanwhile, the kids looked like they'd rather be anywhere else, staring off into the void of teenage boredom. And honestly, same. But here's the kicker. Kody gave Christine all that grief about making a lighthearted, fun road trip to New Jersey to help Isabel with her anxiety before her surgery. But then, here he is, taking the family on this super fun trip to get ice cream and buy signs for his son's funeral. How convenient. It's totally fine for him to wrap his grief in a cheerful family adventure. But Christine's attempt to do the same. Oh no, not allowed. And don't even get me started on how he only mentioned the fun aspect to move on from his own grief, which, sure, I get, it's a tough situation. But not once did he make any connection to Garrison. No, Garrison would have loved this. No, Garrison and I used to go here. Nothing. Absolutely no emotional tie to his son's memory at all. Yeah, I'm totally fine with not seeing Kody and Robyn on screen again. Interviews really do say a lot, don't they? Watching the most recent episode hit me on a personal level. I've lost someone close to me to suicide, and there's also been a recent death in my family. So, as I'm watching all these interviews with the sister wives and Kody, there's one moment that sticks out to me. Every mom starts talking about Garrison, and they get choked up. They need to pause, take a breath, because it's clearly hitting them hard, thinking about him. But you know who doesn't really seem all that affected? Robyn. And honestly, that says so much about how disconnected she is from the other kids. Mary and Christine both had these heartfelt, tearful moments, remembering him with love. Robyn, on the other hand, seemed way more focused on Kody, like she's living in her own little bubble with him. Now, maybe it's the editing team picking the stoic clips of her, leaving out any emotional ones. But honestly, it just makes her complete lack of connection to the other kids even more glaring. It's sad, really. Robyn will never truly understand this grief. She's an outsider, a fake. She's still just a guest in this family. And let's not forget, she never really tried to integrate with the OG wives. People keep saying she's an outsider, and they're right. She had plenty of chances, but it's clear she didn't want to make the effort. Mary held on to a fake friendship with Robyn, probably because she felt abandoned by the others, and thought she needed to hang on to Robyn to stay in the good graces of Icky Kody. Robyn did nothing to bring all the kids together, and now, it shows. It's glaring. Someone, please start a petition to get Kody and Robyn off the show. Seriously, the last episode was the last straw. These two are the worst, and I'm not just talking about as people, although that's a whole other problem. Their storylines are absolutely unbearable to watch. They drag the whole show down. They're not even good villains anymore. It's just sad. Take their Wyoming getaway, for example. A totally tone-deaf disaster. Look at us on our super exciting trip where we smugly showcase how complete we are, all while being incredibly narcissistic. Meanwhile, the rest of the family is dealing with the fallout from Garrison leaving and using their time to highlight real causes, like the Humane Society. It felt like two completely different shows, one that I'd gladly subscribe to and the other, well, not so much. And to the inevitable "just stop watching" comments. Thanks for the super helpful advice. But let's be real, what do Kody and Robyn even bring to the table at this point? Mary, Janelle, and Christine are way more genuine and have far more potential for meaningful storylines now that they've divorced. Honestly, no one would miss Kody and Robyn. Their fake, cringeworthy storylines eat up too much screen time. And frankly, I fast-forward through every moment they're on. The rest of the episode was a breath of fresh air, especially the OGs and their kids. They really did Garrison justice, and it was genuinely moving. Alright, now I want to hear from you. Sound off in the comments and let me know where you stand. Agree, disagree, or something in between? And if you're enjoying the vibe, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're always in the loop. Your voice counts, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for hanging with me.